You asked for it, you got it. This right here is part 2 to my previous videos about gnomes, fairies, and elementals. I'm going to share with you some revelations about them that you guys may not be aware of, as well as a couple of experiences that I've had with them, both interdimensionally and within this reality. As I always say, I rarely talk about anything that I have not either had some kind of experience, revelation, or core memory, or even an intuitive feeling about. So, without further ado, let's do that official ABB intro. I'll be back.
At two, what's up with that dude? Who's flexing and collecting like yeah, I'll do whatever you want to do, baby, give me nothing like blue. Is it magical what you do?
Now, if you're someone who's just coming across an Astral Boo Baby video, you may want to go back and look at the previous ones because I give a very basic explanation as to how and why there are alternative realities and other dimensions and beings that we cannot see from this perspective. I talk about the nature of reality, which is in fact far more fluid and infinite than meets the human perspective, the human eye. Realities are fluid and they have their own laws and physics. Now, with that out of the way, the first thing I want to talk about are the elementals that were genetically engineered. Yes. Now, many people talk about a time in history that we call Atlantis. Atlantis was a very advanced civilization. As a matter of fact, they were so advanced that even by the most advanced technology that we have today is primitive in comparison. And during that time, there was genetic engineering going on, meaning they would take genetic stock from one species and splice it with another for various reasons, and I'm not going to really get into that. And ironically, the same thing has happened with humans. Again, I'm not going to get into that right now, but we must differentiate between the physical vessel or the vessel versus the greater conscious being. Two different realities. Although in this particular realm, you have the two realities coming together to have a multi-dimensional experience. Now, those elementals that were genetically engineered did not fall with the destruction of Atlantis or when the earth fell. Those elementals, of course, they went out into nature, connected with nature, and they are still a part of nature. Then there are the elementals that are natural to the earth. They are native to the earth, the elements, etc. These are beings who have very powerful interdimensional, multi-dimensional capabilities or abilities. Elementals. My very first experience with one, and I didn't know that this is what it was at the time, was doing an astral travel, and someone was guiding me. I was having an interaction with someone, and they showed me this particular being, and the first thing I said and thought, what in the hell is that? I actually done a drawing on this particular being, but I can't seem to find it to show you guys. And I didn't have time to actually draw to show you. I'm going to just describe what this being looked like. This being had pointed ears. When I say white skin, I mean there's no person on earth who is Caucasian or considered white as this being was. I mean, this creature was literally snow white. Had a dull, pasty, dry, white skin, freckles. It had a bunch of red freckles all over its face and neck and hands. Very wide, narrow mouth, and had hard grooves in the upper lip, and had crocodile eyes and scraggly blonde hair. Now, I'm not saying that this being was unattractive. It was just very odd looking. I had never seen anything, not consciously anyway. I had not seen anything like that up until that point. Now, you know, of course, someone would say, oh, that was your imagination or whatever. How can I imagine something without having a point of reference to begin with? It's impossible. You can't really imagine something out of nothing. We all borrow something. Even when we use our imagination, it's borrowed from the collective consciousness. So even if I had imagined it, that would have to come from something that had actually existed before. So the detail in this creature was just really awesome, honestly. But I was blown away by it. Let me further explain, describe what this creature looked like. Had a very, I felt that it was a female energy. She had a very angular face, sharp chin, strong cheekbones. She had a very thin neck and had a body like that of a toddler, but it was like a developed adult combined. It's a very weird combination. And what I noticed is when they spun this creature around to show it to me, there was this wind coming from. I felt the wind come from this creature. Again, I did not know what it was. It just looked like some freak of nature from my perspective at that time. Now keep in mind, I've grown and learned a lot since then. This was when I was just starting to go into the layers to where I start interacting with non-human life forms or expressions. And this was the very first elemental. Again, at the time, I did not know that's what it was. But now, through many experiences and revelations and core memories, I understand that was my first time seeing an elemental. Again, look Caucasian, but not quite. Not in the way that we have seen in the movies and fairy tales and in the books. Now, I'm going to tell you, some of them are absolutely on point, particularly with the gnomes. The gnomes are, based on my revelation, are a byproduct of the genetic engineering that I talked about that happened during the time of Atlantis. And they do look pretty similar to the way they are depicted. They wear the dunce hat, what we humans have attached to as calling the dunce cap, and the clothing. All of that is pretty much on point. I've actually seen leprechauns do exist, but leprechauns are and trolls are part of the Devic kingdom. They are not elementals. Two different things. Leprechauns, the depiction of those are pretty accurate. I think with the fairies, the depiction with them has been enhanced by man's own imagination to make them more appealing to the masses, because we have been conditioned to accept a certain standard of beauty. And this is what I feel, this is my opinion, this is what I feel and believe to be the reason why Hollywood tend to really beautify and make them super cute or beautiful, these particularly the fairies. Now again, I'm not saying that fairies don't exist in the way that they're depicted, but I have not seen one that looks just like those as of yet. Now they do have the tiny bodies, the wings. I'm just talking in terms of the face. Now furthermore, the elemental kingdom is far more diverse in the way they look. They are not all pale skin. In fact, the majority of them have some kind of hue. I've seen blue ones, I've seen green ones, I've seen those that look like rocks, look like they were made of pebbles. As quiet as it's kept, some of them, many of them, actually look like the natives on Earth. They had brown skin, dark brown skin. Yes, we don't see it, it's not depicted in the media, but they do exist. I've seen an elemental that looks like, the fungus, the green fungus. If you go out into nature and you go to a pond, that green fungus that grows over that covers like a dirty pond, or maybe some rock with a bunch of dirt, moisture on it, that green fungus. Some of them look like that and they feel like that. If you were to actually touch the fungus, it has a wetness and a like wet dirt and a softness, moisture to it. They feel like that. Some of them actually look like that. Some of them look very similar to the texture and color of trees. We don't see this being depicted much in the media and the storybooks. Those fairies that I've seen with the blonde hair, they do exist, but again, those fairies are the result of genetic engineering from the time of Atlantis, and because they did not fall with Atlantis, they are still one with nature, and they are able to move in and out of portals and in doorways. They're very elusive for a reason, but these beings have made agreements, as we do with other beings. We make agreements upon incarnating in physical reality. They can help us, and many of them want to be of service and to be of assistance to many of us. Why? Because when Earth evolved, they evolved. They understand that everything is connected, and they understand that if we here who are connected to them have all of this chaos and disconnection, and we're really off centered, that affects them. So this is why they have a vested interest, and this is why some of these beings have incarnated into physical life and have taken on what we would call strange deformities, anomalies, and illnesses, etc. They are here to keep that connection and to influence this collective consciousness or this collective reality. Now I would like to talk about how these beings gain access to 3D, because again, these are basically 5D beings, whether they be a product of nature, Mother Earth, or that they were genetically engineered in 5D. They are still one with 5D. They're one with nature still. Based on my revelation, you have those that come through by way of portals that are all around us, but we cannot see them. But the elementals can see them, and they come through, some of them come through to be mischievous, some of them come through to help out those that they made agreements with, to work with people they made agreements with. Some of them come through to gather resources. This Quiet Queen talked about how one had taken beautiful earrings. They may come in and take something that they find to be beautiful and will leave something in the place of to take back to their little kingdom to beautify or as art or what have you. So, they come in and out through portals usually in the forest, by large bodies of water, gardens, wherever there's an abundance of beautiful nature. You will and or can find elementals if you have the eyes, or if you hang around long enough. You can see them because they come in and out, and they are elusive as well because they understand how dangerous humans are, the human nature, how we tend to want to, kill and destroy or attack anything we don't understand. And this is partly why people such as myself are speaking about this, because we are kind of setting the stage for what is to come. The other way in which interdimensionals, the more native elementals, come into this reality is by way of mirrors. Any of you guys may not know this, but they do come through by way of mirrors. Some of them can come straight through walls. They move in and out of walls. Why? Because they are more fluid. They're more one with nature. These beings can speed up, slow down the molecules in their bodies at will. Whereas humans, if we were at 100% capacity, as with any being who is one with the cosmos, we can speed up and slow down the molecules, be it a light body, a physical body, or what have you, just by thought. But of course, most human beings, the human form, not who we really are in the bigger picture, but the human form This awareness, this ability has been forgotten, locked down, shut down. So these things are going to sound impossible and crazy from the perspective of someone who is basically in a prison, in a box, which is what we all are from this human perspective. So they come in through by way of mirrors and, with the wind, hence elementals, or with the elements. Now, I'm going to share with you guys right now an experience that I had. Now, prior to this particular experience I'm going to share with you guys, I have always felt them around me. When I would be in a nice sleep, I would feel them jumping on the bed. You feel like little feet running around you on the bed. You can hear them walking, their little footsteps. Now, my nephews and my niece have seen and heard them when they come to visit me, and they used to, in their state of innocence, they were very intrigued by this. And even my cousins who come to visit me with babies, they could clearly see that there was activity going on. And so at one time, family members would be kind of nervous about visiting me because they know there's going to be some kind of activity. But, they're used to it now. They actually embrace it. But it's a very warm and cozy home, But anyway, I digress. The other time that I had an experience with pretty mischievous elemental was I was home alone. This was about 3 years ago. I was home alone and it was a long day, really tired. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't astral projecting. I was just in a really good sleep. Now, to those of us who've ever had someone play a practical joke on us while we're asleep, you know what I'm talking about. You know how you're aware that something is going on, but you're so tired, it's not registering at first what is going on. That's what this experience was like. I was lying down on my side, asleep. And again, I'm aware that something is going on, but it's not really registering. And so I feel like something jump on the bed, felt like it could have been a little mouse or something, jump on the bed, and I felt it slowly coming up to me. And all of a sudden, I felt it slowly, like a shadow or something coming up like midway of my face. And then I felt it was as if somebody took one of those hand buzzers, like if you shake someone's hand and they buzz your hand. I felt that it was like they took their finger and buzzed my nose. I knew what was going on, but it wasn't registering. It was like zzz, zzz, like a buzz, and I flinched. I remember flinching, and then I heard this gimpish laugh like this. And then again, I'm lying there, but it's not connecting as to what's going on because I'm so comfortable in my sleep. So I hear the gimpish laugh, but again, I lie there, continue to sleep. And then about a minute later, the being came up and buzzed my nose again, and I flinched, and then I heard it giggle again in this laugh. And then I had laid there, and then that's when it hit me. Like, this is really going on. Something is in my room, on my bed, clowning me, basically. And that's when I opened my eyes, and I saw the waveform, and I felt it jump off the bed. I couldn't actually see it, but I saw the waveform, and I saw it jump off of the bed. Speaking of waveform, you do not need full sight or a full pineal gland activation to see or detect the waveform of an interdimensional or spiritual presence. Should you sense, hear, or feel that there's a presence around that you cannot see within the typical physical world's light spectrum, simply focus your eyes, lens, and attention to the area in which you feel this energy the strongest. Once you get a good feel on where the energy is flowing, look down to the floor or base area from whence the energy is. If you see transparent wave patterns that resemble thermal heat waves coming off of a pavement or sidewalk on a hot summer's day, this is a strong sign of an interdimensional presence. Once you lock in, slowly focus your eyes from the base or floor of where this presence is and begin panning out. This is a great way to detect the actual size and height of the presence. In essence, the energy signature, vibratory imprint, or waveform will forever be the core of who we are, no matter how large, small the form, or whether or not we have an actual physical or light body. I was not imagining this. I knew this was really going on. Absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's the only time that I had an experience that I consciously remember of that nature, because sometimes I can fall into a deep sleep and be totally out of what's going on around me. But yeah, that was a very interesting experience. Now, they also come, and like Miss Quiet Queen has said, they will come, the more mischievous type, they will move stuff. You know, you put your keys somewhere and you go look for it and you can't find it, and the keys are somewhere where you weren't even in that part of the home when it happened. They'll move little small objects around. They'll hide things from you. You know, again, these are the more mischievous types, and this happens all the time. So a lot of times, you guys, if you know for a fact that you put something down somewhere and there's no one in the home but you may well have a mischievous character in there just passing time, having fun at your expense. You know, and it's all cute and fun because they've never killed anyone. They're not trying to harm anyone. They're just little fun creatures, you know, and, you know, many of them want to help. And they have a vested interest in our development, our evolution, because when we evolve and become one with nature like them, and stop destroying nature and destroying ourselves, we help them in the process. That's all I'm going to say about the subject matter. So many ways I can go with this. Again, in order to understand how and why different beings such as elementals and even beings we call aliens and ETs, etc., really exist, you have to understand the nature of reality and why most people are disconnected from nature, and why it is for this reason most of us have forgotten these things or cannot tap into these things. And on that note, you are so loved beyond measure. Thank you for your time. Continue to question, learn, and grow. Happy travels.